y'all, it's Pam with 44 Marketplace and Creative Finishes by Pam. Monday night, 8 o'clock, you know where I'm going to be. So tonight, we are going to do something that is not as much furniture painting related as furniture troubleshooting related. This is something that happens often. And it came up, the beautiful Plum Crazy piece that we did a couple weeks ago. Has gorgeous hardware. It looks like this, but guess what? If you'll look at how far apart these screws are and everything, you can tell this is very distinctive hardware, okay? And when we did it last month, you could see that this could be difficult to replace, and we looked everywhere. And then my husband and I thought, I bet we could recreate it, because a lot of them look like this. Do you notice what's missing? The cute little pull. So this is off of one of the others that's missing. We have back plates, but this needs to be here, except I don't have all of these anymore. And sometimes that happens. Now, could you change out the hardware? Yes, you could change out the hardware. But would you want to when this really goes with the personality? So tonight, guess what we're going to do? I'm going to show you how to recreate hardware. All right. So the first thing we did was, and by the way, this is where we're going with this, okay? This is the hardware that's going to be put on the other one, but we recreated part of it. So what we did was we took Play-Doh. Every one of you guys probably have Play-Doh, and you may hate it, but it's fabulous for what we're doing tonight. And this is what we did. We went to the dollar store and got some Play-Doh on clearance after Christmas or something. And this is what we did. We took our piece that we were trying to duplicate and we pressed it into the Play-Doh. But if you'll look, when this one was made, you can see it was made in two parts. It's been put together as metal. So that's what we did. We put half of this in here, and I'm going to show you how we did it. Okay, we're going to take this and we're going to press it into the Play-Doh. These are just portion cups with Play-Doh. Now you want to be sure and leave a little bit of room at the top of this portion cup for the displacement of your piece. And keep in mind, when we start doing these, we're making a right side and a left side. You have to make them, you can't make two rights or two lefts. Okay, you can see that when this one was put in here, it was put in here just like this, okay? You can see how that one fits right down in there. So you know which side you've made, because that's the side that's down in there. So that means we have to make the opposite side. So we're going to make this side. And what you're going to do is you're going to take it and you're going to press it down into your Play-Doh. Now, if you guys are watching and you've got a local retailer, give them a shout out on this page so that they know. All right, so we put it halfway down in there. Just like this, okay? All right, so you can see we go to that halfway line. All right, now you're going to pull your piece out and you can see now I have a right and a left. Yes? All right, so what we're going to do is we are going to use resin, and I know you guys have seen the resin. This is a two-part mixture, and we are going to use it. And you know, you only have about 2.5 minutes. Once I combine these two, so long as they're separate, I got lots of time, all the time in the world. But once we combine them, you got just a few seconds to mix them together, and you only have about 2.5 minutes of working time. And we're going to pour a right and a left, okay? So we're pouring it in now, and the clock is ticking. So we got to stir it all up, and you got to make sure you get a good mixture, and you have to make sure your equal parts are exact, or your resin won't set up. All right, looks like we've got it pretty much stirred together, and you want to make sure you get a good mixture, so make sure that it looks like it is mixed thoroughly. All right, it's mixed. Now what we're going to do is we're going to pour it, and don't over pour it. You want to make sure your mold is full, but you don't want over poured, because what is our motto? Work smarter, not harder. If you over pour, you're going to have to get the rest of that off of there, okay? You want to make sure you go all the way to the top. This one we're going to put, there we go. All the way to the top, because what we're going to do is we are going to take our two pieces when they come out of the mold, and we are going to glue them together. All right, so you guys can see what is going on. We're just going to slip this to the side so that you can see. All right. Now I want to show you the piece that we have already done. You know, we're like a cooking show. We've already done this. We've poured our two pieces and we've made our mold. And I want to show you, you can see how great they look. They're almost perfectly identical. And you can see this one was put together in the center. This one was put together in the center, just like that. So once you have done that, you've got this great back plate, but you can see it doesn't have any way to attach it. So what you're going to do is, we used this product, J-B Weld. All right? We used that product, and we put it on the back of here. Can you see the way you need it to come through these holes slightly? So it almost forms its own bolt to hold your piece on. Questions? All right. Rick is filming for me tonight, so you guys can say hey to Rick. But we almost let it form a bolt. And I don't know if you guys have ever used J-B Weld, but it's almost a two-part resin kind of thing. You have to mix the two parts together, and that's what we did. We applied it to this, and there you go. We have recreated our hardware. Now, everything needs plenty of time to dry, and you may have to sand this off to make it smooth or whatever, because when it comes out of the Play-Doh, it is going to be, it has a little bit of a film on it, so that you just clean it right off. Okay, so now you can see what we've done with that. And also, if you're doing little pieces like this, you know these caps? You can use these caps for it as well. If you're doing smaller pieces, the caps from your Prima transfers, they are great. Like I say, these, the portion cups that you get at the restaurant stores or at Sam's Club, they work really well as well. Another thing that we found that I decided to bring out for you, if you've got a weights, if you fish like we do and you've got lead weights, you can take damp sand, press your piece down in there, and melt you some lead weight in a pot. Make sure it's a pot you don't care about anymore, because it doesn't fare very well. And then you can take your piece out of there, and I decided that since we had already poured this, I would unveil it. So I haven't seen it yet either. Look at that. Let's get our little, we're going to dust it off. We've got sand. Look at that. Look how great that looks. So if you wanted to create your own metal pieces, you can melt some lead and you can create your own piece. And like I say, it's like anything, it would have to be cleaned up a little bit, but you can see how great you can do it. And it has to be damp sand so that it holds its form. Now, I often get asked about remaking back plates. When you're remaking back plates, you can use the same process that you did with these pieces, except you put this down in there and that's going to be great. But if you look at the way this back plate is made, you have places for your screws to attach. And when you pour the front of this, you are not going to have places for your screws to attach. So what you're going to want to do is you are going to either want to glue this on your piece. You may want to use J-B Weld or something, or you may want to find a way to drill into it just so that you've got a way to attach your screws to your piece. So keep in mind, we could recreate this just like we did this. The complication arises when you attach your piece to it. All right, so I'm going to show you where we are with our pieces. We're not going to disturb them, but you can see that our resin is setting up well. And pretty soon, it only takes about 10 minutes to set up, so we're going to go ahead with that. Now, my piece, I needed it to be a beautiful gold color. And to get a nice, rich gold, I used Dixie Belle's Moonshine Metallics in Gold Digger. And I put 2 coats on here after my hardware was cleaned well. And then to add some more richness, I used Prima Redesign in Eternal. So that is, I always want to call it Element, and I know it's not Element. So this one is Eternal, and that way. But now you can also get a nice, rich gold color on your pieces if you'll paint them red first and then add your Gold Digger over it. It richens the gold so much. I just didn't have red here at the house today, and we're still recuperating from the Bells and Bow Tour this weekend. So you can see how nice and rich that is, and look at that. Isn't that perfect? It just really looks amazeballs, doesn't it? Okay, so you can see that this is what this one looks like before it's painted, because I want you guys to get an idea of exactly what it looks like and how we recreate it. You can see the way they go together, and you can see how the back looks. And in just a minute, we're going to pull these out. So does anybody have questions? Do you have that piece of hardware that you're looking for? I know a lot of times you may have the back plate and there'll be bells that are hanging that are missing or something, but if you've still got one on the piece, you can do like we do. We didn't have one of these to use. We actually broke one off so that we had something to recreate so that we could do this. And in the case of a bell or something, you may have to do something creative. You may have to unscrew it, and typically with the bells, you can unscrew and they'll come right off because typically they're not held together by anything. But sometimes you just have to be creative. Like I say, you have to do something like this. But always remember, when you're doing something, you need to create both sides, because if you don't create both sides, then you're going to have two of the same side and it's not going to work so well. We're going to give this another minute to set up, because you can see, if you look how the resin is setting up, where it's white, it is set up, and where it's still a little clear around the edges, it has not set up. But I know people are always looking for hardware, and there are many choices. And could I have replaced this hardware with other hardware? Yes, I could replace it with other hardware. But isn't this fabulous? I mean, don't you love all of the detail? I mean, look at the detail on this hardware. It's totally amazeballs. I mean, it's beautiful, and it goes with the piece. And you have to keep in mind that not only do we have the two beautiful Beauty and the Beast nightstands by Pulaski, we also have the dresser, we have the chest of drawers, and we have two mirrors. So we want to make and the headboard, and we want to make sure that we have all of the pieces. And if I can keep it true to form, I want to. And in looking through all of my sources, I could not find a place that it had anything even similar to this, because this is probably 60s or 70s, and most hardware is not this intricate anymore. So it's just one of those things that you want to get it right while you're doing it. All right, we're going to see if this is...
Pop it out of there.
All right, we're going to pull it out. I know you guys can hear Isabel. All right, now ours did not set up completely, but that's okay. You can see how all of the detail is there. And anything that you have, see how these edges are a little flat right here? All of that will need to be removed, but it's super easy. Take some sandpaper or something, and you can remove that right off of there, and it is ideal.
Sand the two backs flat.
Yep, you want to sand the two backs flat, because they've got to go together right here. Okay? Now, I did put the links to the Amazing Casting Resin and to the J-B Weld on there for you. I'm going to see if I can get this one out now. It's colder out here than it is in the house, so it's not setting up as quickly. All right, there we go. This one looks much better because it's set up a little longer. There you go. You can see what it looks like. And all we have to do is clean this up. We'll get our green off of here. But you can see where these edges are. Look at that. So we'll have to clean that all up so that the two sides can be glued together. And this is what we're going for. So I know this was not a painting related video, but when you are redoing furniture, this can be one of the most frustrating things. It's that perfect piece of hardware that just finishes it. And if you don't have the original hardware, sometimes you can find something that works, but sometimes the hardware that you do find just completely changes the personality, and that's not what you're going for. So today, we showed you how you can completely change it by recreating it. Isn't that amazing? So if you have questions, I will go through and I will answer all of them in the comments. I appreciate you tuning in tonight. I am Pam with 44 Marketplace, and Rick is filming for me. And we appreciate you guys tuning in every Monday night. Y'all have a great evening.